We're live.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. McKay is the founder of Business of Creativity based in Canada. She loves working with passionate, creative, service-based freelancers, consultants, and entrepreneurs who are feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or plateaued, trying to build their thriving and predictable business. Aura stands for positivity, growth mindset, and possibilities. She loves big words, efficient solutions, and the celebration and acknowledgement of others. She is committed to inspiration and implementation. Aura, welcome. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you so much. And the conversation I am bringing today is really how do we live our lives and design our businesses so that we can live with intention instead of by default. And I didn't always start off this way, gang. I believed for a long time that the secret to success was that I had to keep working hard, working hard, working hard. And you know what? I didn't even believe that it was possible to be successful as a creative entrepreneur when I first started my journey. In fact, I believed that it was just a myth and it was never possible for creative people to be able to bridge that gap between their skills and making money and having a sustainable business. It's one of the main reasons why I created Business of Creativity in the first place. My own journey is based on a foundation of passion, multiple passions, lots of things I've been passionate about over my life, passionate about travel and creativity and self-expression and photography and transformation and personal growth. And from that, what I've done is I have designed a business and a dream lifestyle so that I can bridge that gap between what I love to do and having a life and a business doing what I love. And what has helped me do that is having a damn plan. Most of us don't want one. Most of us absolutely need one. So what is in a damn plan? Gang, I'm gonna walk you through my entire journey of inspiration, of challenges, of obstacles, and of overcoming them to hopefully inspire you to live your life by design and not by default. I started out as an accountant, mostly because of default actions, default ways of thinking, striving to always fit in, of finding a place out there in the world, a marketplace where I could be appreciated and successful and I could achieve things in my life. And what happened was I thought and I believed that it was society who was going to tell me what success looked like, that it was society that was going to tell me where I fit in life. And what ended up happening is that I had an experience of feeling like I was kind of trimming off pieces of who I was and who I am in the world in order to be able to fit in and to kind of match society's version of what does success look like. So instead, I started asking myself questions. I started to ask myself, what if there's more than one way to live your best life? I don't know about you folks, but for a long time, I was told that, you have to go out and find your purpose. You have to go out and find, what your calling is. And I thought, really? Really? There's just one thing that I'm good at? There's just one purpose, one vision of success that could be out there? Well, what if that wasn't true? What if there's more than one way for me to live my best life? And what if these obstacles that I see out there, these constraints, these limitations that are put out on us, from how traditional business works and how traditional business models work and the constraints of our economy and the constraints of our cultures. What if these obstacles were in fact opportunities? And what if success wasn't about hard work and hustle? I know, these are kind of radical ideas, but I'm telling you, these are the things that started to shift for me so that I wasn't necessarily living that treadmill life of just doing the next thing and the next thing that came up by default. I tried on different visions of who I might be, different ways of looking at who I am right now in the world and what could be possible versions of success. What could I try on? Could I be an international travel photographer? Maybe I could work for National Geographic. What if I was the next Tony Robbins? What if, what if, what if? And I started to use my creativity and my self-expression and the ability to take an idea and start to prototype and imagine and brainstorm and create multiple different versions of what life could look like for me. Who do I want to be in the world? Not necessarily what I want to do and have, but who could I be in the world? And then looking at what could I do in order to be that in the world? Looking at, well, why would those things even matter to me? Why would it matter whether I was a National Geographic travel photographer or opened my own online learning platform to support other creatives, or won Photographer of the Year, or sang in front of 19,000 people? Like, what would it matter? Why do those things matter? And by the way, gang, those are all things that I've created in my life. Each of those things has happened and manifested and been a part of my journey. And then finally, what will be different in the lives of others when I live into these lives, into these design lives? So when I'm looking at trying on these different visions, that's how I moved from accounting and marketing into travel, creativity, and photography. And I went and I actually did an incredible thing for me, which is I let go a lot of the agreements about who I was, a lot of that default way of thinking of, I am an accountant, I am a rule follower, I have a stable and a secure world in front of me. And I decided to try on a different way of being. I designed myself as a traveler, as a photographer, as someone who was creative and self-expressed. And I went and I traveled around the world for 18 months in the South Pacific and Southeast Asia, living out of my backpack, taking the next opportunity and the next opportunity and the next opportunity. And what came up for me was that I was almost overwhelmed by possibilities and opportunities. I was traveling with no fixed agenda, just taking the next thing that came up almost by default. And when I was in that place of almost limitless opportunity, I was overwhelmed by too many options. And it wasn't until I started really looking at things like what matters to me that I was able to sort of build in some more of a framework and make powerful decisions to design my life even further. Because what if I could make money being a photographer? What if I could actually live that dream lifestyle of being and doing and having all the things I want, of traveling around the world and get paid to do it? Because there I was for the last 18 months, traveling out of my backpack, spending all my money. So what if the next dream was being able to get paid to do what I love? And then why would that matter? So these dreams, getting clear on those dreams at each turning point in my journey was an opportunity for me to review what has been my default habits, what has got me here this far, what has led me down the path. And if I really do want something different, I might have to change directions. I might have to make a turn and move in a different direction if I truly want to design my life. Now, gang, it isn't not all sunshine and daffodils. I went to the new direction of, okay, what if I could make money? But I was super reluctant. I totally resisted the idea that I was going to have to do business because I believed that business was the way that I had been taught as an accountant in my marketing. I believed that business was 20th century traditional business techniques and planning. I believed that business was rigid and it could only look one way. And those beliefs caused me to resist embracing the business of creativity for a very long time. I also noticed a huge gap in the marketplace. Here I was, a well-trained photographer. I went and I got my photography designation. I was well trained. I'd been practicing for a year. I had lots of clients. I'm educated. I've graduated. I got my skill. I even have a leg up on most other freelancers and solopreneurs because I've got training in accounting and marketing. And yet still I resisted because the training that I had didn't match my vision for what was possible, for how I saw that being a creative entrepreneur could look in the world. And this is when I started to think, okay, how can I take my dreams and turn them into the kind of business that I see as possible, not the kind of business that old school 20th century, not really very flexible dynamic thinking would have told me and dictated that I should do. So what happened was I started looking at the other pieces of a damn plan. I started looking at how could I be a successful entrepreneur? And when I started designing and really embracing the other aspects of a damn plan, I became an international award-winning photographer. I was one of the 4th finalists for Canada's Photographic Artist of the Year. I started to get paid to travel the world, to Italy, to Mexico, running travel photography workshops and nude and figure photography workshops. I became a business instructor at some of the top institutes in Vancouver. And then as I started to see that that level of impact wasn't really fulfilling me anymore, I built the level of success in that area, and I started to see, oh, what do I want now based on who I am now? And then I started to build, I started to design and then build and then grow Business of Creativity, my current online learning platform where I get to inspire and support other creatives to design their own journey. And I had to do that by filling in some more of the blanks. It's not enough just to have the dream. The dream is critical, but it's not enough to just have the dream. Actions. We need to get into action in order to be able to truly live into that designed life. And the actions we take are dependent on our mindset, and our mindset can be supported and managed by a network of support around us. And you can see, gang, that this is the foundation of a damn plan. We all need one if we are going to live our life with intention and not just keep doing the next thing and the next thing that comes up by default. We want to have clarity on our dreams, actions to be able to fulfill them, the mindset to follow through, and the network of support to help us go farther, go faster, and keep going when we can't necessarily go on our own. So a lot of that is dictated by our beliefs and by our agreements. I say agreements, and there are these things that we call like sort of cultural agreements that, we agree that everybody's got to pay their bills. Everybody's got to work hard. If you work hard, you'll get far. If you are creative, you're never going to make any money. Like there's all these kind of agreements that we have about life. And there's all these kinds of beliefs that we have. And most of the time, my experience has been that our beliefs and our agreements are what influence our actions and influence the results that we have. So if I look out in my world, and this is what happened to me about 5 years ago, I looked out into my world and I saw the results that I had. I had an awesome photography business. I had clients who loved me. I had a fantastic relationship with a couple of different institutes around town. I designed great curriculum. I was teaching and inspiring others. I was like, woo, I got it. I was only working about 30 hours a week. I had money in the bank. I had time to visit my friends and family. Woohoo, right? Success, I made it. But life isn't a finite destination. It's a journey. And I was looking at the results that I currently had in my life, and I thought, I want to create a bigger impact on the world. I want to be cause in the matter. for having creatives bring their ideas and innovation to the marketplace. We're at a place where our economy is shifting out of information and technology dominating our marketplace. And more we're seeing that creativity, ideas, and innovation are becoming the currency of choice. And so as creatives, it's almost our responsibility to thrive, to bring those ideas, to bring that creativity and innovation to today's marketplace. I believe that this is really how we're going to change the world, that we all are going to be causing the matter for changing how the world shows up into the future, because we're going to be successful at bringing our ideas and creativity to the world. So if you look at your results right now and you look and you think, okay, I want to play a bigger game. The results that I have right now are not the results that I want. I want to be out there being cause in the matter of it. So when you look at those results are because of actions that you took or you didn't take. They're because of actions you either took or you did not take. And you took those actions based on your thoughts and feelings and beliefs. Who am I to step into that? It's never going to work for me. I'm not the leader. Somebody else will do it. I can just wait. All of those thoughts and feelings and beliefs are what dictate our current results. So mindset and the ability to manage our mindset, to shift some of our feelings and our thoughts and beliefs, will start to change the actions that we take and will change the results that we get in life. So I have created a progressive statement exercise for you so that you can start to practice shifting some of your beliefs that are showing up as obstacles in your life. So you may have current beliefs that are stopping you from taking the actions that you really need to and maybe even want to be taking. A lot of what I want in life are things that I have created dreams for, and I know why they matter, but sometimes I still don't take action. And when I have a clear dream and I'm clear on why it matters and I'm not taking action, that's the time for me to look at what are my current feelings, thoughts, and beliefs. What do I need to do with my mindset so that I can take those clear actions so that I can live into that clear dream? Yeah. And if you have words that are coming up, I can't because, that is exactly a obstacle. That's a belief obstacle right there. So I can't because running a business is too difficult. I can't because I'm too creative to be good at business. So get out your pens and paper, take 30 seconds right now, get into action. So even if you believe, oh yeah, I've heard this before. Oh yeah, I know all of this. These are just beliefs. Get into action anyway. See what kinds of results can be created by getting into action. Think about what are your current belief obstacles and write those down. Like really, write down what are your belief obstacles right now. It might be as simple as I'm never going to be good at that. It might be around something that's happening in today's economy and you have a belief about things never getting better or nobody's going to spend any money. There are a lot of ways out there in the world to transform beliefs. You may have heard of positive affirmations. So I have a little bit of a thing about positive affirmations, gang. Positive affirmations, if you don't really know, are generally described as taking a belief and sort of flipping it to the opposite. So if the belief obstacle is, I'm never going to be good at running my business. I'm never going to be good at business. It's just not my thing. I'm never going to be good at it. A positive affirmation would sound like, I am great at running my business. I am fabulous at running a business. I'm awesome at running a business. And in the back of your mind, your thoughts and feelings and beliefs, what are they doing? No, you're not. You suck. You can't do it. What are you talking about? That's bullshit. You can't do it. And gang, it doesn't matter how many times you say the words. Kind of it does. But just saying the words isn't going to get you into action. It's about looking at those core feelings and beliefs. If you still believe you can't, you're right. So how do we shift the I can'ts to I can? Well, it's not just one step. It's not just flip it over. I can't, I can. It's a progressive change. It takes practice and mastery to really work on our mindset and to really transform those beliefs. So I prefer to look at, instead of positive affirmations, I prefer to use something called progressive statements. And you will see on this slide, there is a link at the bottom here. There is a free download. If you want to go get my progressive statements workbook, you're welcome to do that. But I'm going to give you the steps right here anyways. They're fairly straightforward. And you've already done step one. The first step is to get your beliefs out of your head and into the world. When we can get things out of our head and into the world, we can start to look at them a little bit more objectively. We can practice self-awareness. When things are all internal, it's very difficult to see them for what they are, or to see them in a way that promotes transformation and change. So step one, write it down. Even if you're not a journaler, write it down. Step two, rewrite it using words like, I'm in the process of, I'm making progress with. In the past, up until now, I believed that I would never be good at business. I'm making progress in learning how to trust myself in business. I'm in the process of learning how to design my life with intention. In the past, up until now, I believed that I sucked at business. This is so totally not true. I can't even say these things with a straight face, gang. And the thing about it is it is important to say them. The way we make change is we get into action. A lot of what I'm all about in Business of Creativity is, yes, knowledge is power, but it's actually more like potential power. And power really comes from action. One of my favorite big words, I know in the intro, I was introduced as someone who likes big words. I have a short word, but it's a word I like. It's called praxis, P-R-A-X-I-S, praxis. And it's that act of turning an idea or a theory into action. And that's really my commitment, is to help creatives turn that theory, that belief, that dream that you have for a different possibility in your life, turn it into action so that those actions can become results. So get into action by practicing your progressive statements. How do you practice them? You say them out loud. You catch yourself. You get into the practice of self-awareness. So you hear yourself say those things out loud. You hear them even say them inside, internally. And then you go, oh, wait, woohoo! I'm self-aware. I hear myself saying the old belief, the obstacle belief, and now I have an opportunity to turn that into a progressive statement. So the praxis of practicing your progressive statements is how you train the mind muscle to get good at a new way of being in the world. Get good at a new way of being. And like anything else, when we practice a new way of being, it may feel challenging at first. It may feel disruptive or uncomfortable. It may feel awkward or weird. That's normal when we make a change, because you're moving out of a default way of being, a way of being that was just comfortable and you didn't have to think about it, to all of a sudden you're bringing your mind and your intention and your energy to thinking about it. And that's what creates that opportunity for change. Most of the time, we live in a binary world of agreement and beliefs. You're either successful or you're a failure. You're either good or you're bad. You're either a winner or you're a loser. There is one way to do it right. There's one way to do it wrong. You either use the right hashtags on Instagram or you don't. You either get a bazillion followers or nobody cares about you. You like there's like this either or thinking, this either or world. And any time in life where you find yourself speaking in absolutes, where you find yourself saying that it's either this or this, and that's it, that's all that's possible for you, you have an opportunity to change that into a possibility. When you start seeing that you are operating in a binary world, that's your signal that you are stuck in default thinking. That's your signal that you may have created a box for yourself, a series of constraints. And gang, that binary thinking, those constraints, that box around you is exactly where innovation thrives. Constraint.
I missed that.
Oh,
could you say it again, please?
Siri wants to participate. Talk about innovation. That is so fun. This is the thing, gang. So think about it. The constraint was, I don't know, I don't want to use my hands to be able to look at something on Siri. The constraint was, I always have to hold my phone if I'm going to look something up. I always have to type it in. So that constraint actually was what drove the innovation for Siri to be created. The constraints that you have in your life right now are where you have an opportunity to innovate. Your current constraints are where you have an opportunity to apply your creativity, your self-expression, your own vision, your own perspective on life, to look at those constraints and see, how can I get innovative with those? What could I do to transform these? If there's a video on YouTube by Phil Hansen, and it's called Embrace the Shake. And this video inspired me so much, so many years ago. I mean, many, many, many years ago, with the idea being that sometimes how we think we're going to live into that dream is not how it actually works for us. So I might think, oh, I'm going to be successful by doing X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z never happens, but I still get to be successful. So sometimes how we think we're going to do it isn't how it happens at all. And in fact, the constraints that we come up against while we're moving towards what we think we should be doing are exactly the constraints and obstacles that create the opportunity for us to innovate what really matters. When I started to see that again and again, I was coming right up against the constraint of there aren't really business programs for creatives that truly support them. When I came up again and again, seeing all of these like free webinars that, you know, were supposed to educate, but really didn't tell you how to do it, or told you what to do, but then you were left on your own to try to figure out how to implement it, over and over and over again, I was seeing these constraints in the marketplace about what was available. And so that's what inspired me to innovate, to find a new way of teaching business and marketing to creatives, to find a new way of supporting implementation and actual action on their business. So the constraints that you're feeling right now, I invite you to look at them as opportunities or possibilities for innovation, and then see what happens and what can be created. All steps count. I don't know how many of you listening right now, if you have an iPhone or an Apple Watch or a step counter or a Fitbit or any of those, yes, Fitbits, all those kinds of things, every single step counts. Also, you notice that if you like lift your hand up and down a lot, like if you're eating chips on the couch, that can also count sometimes, just saying. So even steps that you think aren't counting are sometimes counting. Every step counts. And I think that sometimes when we're up against constraints or we're in a place where it doesn't work, we think we have to be wildly innovative, or we have to make some like radical 90-degree turn and completely change everything. All step forward are progress. Exactly, Karika. All steps forward are progress. All steps backwards are progress. All movement is progress, because here's the thing. And I learned this 20 years of being a professional photographer. I learned this. Even just moving from 1 inch to another, your whole perspective shifts. Even just moving your eyes up or down. Gang, look at this. I'm just going to move my camera 1/2 inch. Perspective changes. The things that are in front changes. The things that are behind, what you see as possible changes. Each piece changes as you move. So every step counts, even if you think you're going in the wrong direction. You are in action and you are moving, and you are able to see change, different perspectives, different contributions. So if every step counts, it doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be small steps. And some of the small steps that make the biggest difference to me are things like writing in a gratitude journal, are, reaching out to be in an active service to someone else, looking for the evidence of awesome. Do you guys know about this? Evidence of awesome is the best ever, because here's the deal. We have a default way of thinking that has us look for the evidence of awful. We are programmed to look for fight, flight, freeze. That's it, fight, flight, or freeze. We're programmed to look for those things. So we're looking for danger. We're looking for things that are terrible. News that comes up is always terrible. Our timelines are terrible. People are communicating their fears, their frustrations, the things that suck, and they're up to here, so they're done with energy and vehemence, and it just looks like the whole world has evidence of awful. And when you're feeling like you don't have any money and you're not being very successful and things aren't going your way, all you can see is the evidence of awful. But I guarantee you that you're probably sitting in binary thinking. You probably can't see that there's anything good about this situation. And that binary thinking is your opportunity to go, wait a minute. Here I can shift things, because I can hear my absolutes. And when you start looking for, maybe there's some evidence of awesome here somewhere. If I took out my magnifying glass and I could go out in the world and I could find like one little evidence of awesome, what could that be like? So an example on the court, I don't have any money. Yeah, really? Look in your bank account. Do you have 27 cents? You have money. It is not a true statement that you don't have any money. The evidence of awesome is awesome. I've got 27 cents. That's more than zero. So practice looking for the evidence of awesome, because this evidence of awesome is able to reinforce the fact that every step counts. Even looking for the evidence of awesome is a step in the direction of seeing possibilities, shifting your mindset, and starting to create your life by design instead of by default. All right, gang, we're nearing the end. And here's what I want you to do in terms of actions moving forward. Each of us has our own personal resource. Each of us has a team that we can bring to our lives, to our businesses, that we can manage in order to be able to truly live our life by design and not by default. The first is your own time. Are you designing how you spend your time, how you invest your time? Or do you just use your time by default? Is it just the same every day at 3 o'clock? The cat comes in and tells you it's time to stop work. So you shut off your computer and you go and feed the cat and have a cup of tea on the couch. Or is that just me every day at 3 o'clock? Like whatever your day is, what is your day by default? And starting to get intentional about where you're spending your time, it just brings you present to what are you doing by default and what would you like to do instead? Your energy. Are you being intentional with your energy? Are you investing your energy on clients that work great for you, that inspire you? Are you investing your energy in things that are aligned with what you care about and what matters to you? Do you have boundaries? Are you practicing self-care? One of the places where we start to see that we don't necessarily acknowledge how awesome we are, and a place for you to look for evidence of awesome is to look at your assets. And I know that we think about tangible assets like money or equipment or your computer or your portfolio. We might think of assets as our personal skills and capabilities, but look at them all. Look at your relationship assets. Look at your experience assets. There is no one on earth like you. And how you can live your best life could look in almost an infinite possibility of ways. It's up to you to choose how you're going to invest and manage your personal resources to live that life, to design that life. Auditing your mindset, being intentional, and practicing the mastery of your mindset. Because, gang, it's not about hard work and hustle. I mean, you can get there. You can certainly get there. You can get a little bounce doing hard work and hustle, but there's so many more possibilities available to us, and so much more fun and play and excitement when we design our own life. And if you do it alone, you're going to get there 100%. But guess what happens when we do it with a friend? Oh my God, gang, when we can get that bounce, when we can get that big bounce by being supported by an incredible network, when you have a coach, when you have a mastermind group, when you have that key elements of support, you will go higher, you will go faster and farther, you will have a much more accelerated experience of living by design. The M in team was mindset. And I'm here to support you if you would like to get my help in designing your best life. Each of you is available for a free strategy call. I do have limited calls out there, gang, so do get on that. I open up a few calls every month. I'm happy to spend an hour with you talking about your life, who you are, what would make your design, make you shine, make you feel aligned, your dream life, and a strategy for how you could get there. I'm happy to do that with each and every one of you. And if there's an opportunity for us to go further, I will make that offer, but this is not a sales call. This is about my why of supporting other creatives so that you do not have to keep chasing that mythical unicorn of success, so that you can actually live the dream of having a life and making a living doing work that you love. These are the 3 keys to living by design. Self-awareness, observing your thoughts and feelings, clarity of being intentional with those thoughts and action, and the practice of the mastery and the mastery of the practice of being consistent, even taking small steps. All steps matter. Thank you so much, gang. I hope that you go out and live your life by design and not by default. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any questions? We got 5 minutes to go. Woohoo! Awesome. What do we got? Any questions?
I do have a question. Actually, it's one question that is becoming 2. The first one is, do you believe everyone is creative? Because the way you frame it is like creativity, and the one that is follow-up is, how would you define when someone is creative?
Okay. So when I look at creative freelancers and creative solopreneurs and creative entrepreneurs, how I'm defining them for the purpose of like identifying my niche and who do I most want to work with, I'm defining them as people who are using creativity in service-based businesses. So that's how I personally define creative freelancers and solopreneurs. So people like videographers, web designers, copywriters, content writers, coaches, consultants, things like that. However, creatives often includes things like artists, illustrators, makers, and fine artists, whom I don't serve in my business. And do I believe that everyone is creative? Yes, I believe each of us creates our experience of our lives by how we interpret and apply our own meaning of feeling and thought. And each of us is unique at how we then express that out in the world. So I think, yes, everyone is creative. How I define creatives for my business is very specific, though. Does that answer it, Rod? Yeah, awesome. Excellent. Any other questions?
Yeah, when you became the top photographer and all of that, where did you get the courage to say, I'm out of this and I'm on to the next? Where did that courage and bravery come from?
Whew.
That's what I saw it as.
Wow, Connie, I really appreciate that as seeing it as courage. I think if I had thought that I had to be courageous, I probably wouldn't have done it. So do you know what I mean? Like, I actually don't think of it as courageous. I think that it was a lot about, there were two pieces for me. One, the constraints of my current life weren't necessarily working for me. And so when we're uncomfortable with our current life, you know how like when there's like a stone in your shoe for a while, you can kind of suck it up for a while, but pretty soon you get a blister and then you got to change your shoes. Like you just got to get the stone out of your shoe. So part of it was that I wasn't making the impact that I wanted to make. Even though I was an international award-winning photographer, even though I was doing all of these things, my ability to impact in the world, to truly make the difference, to be a cause in the matter for helping other creatives bridge that gap between creativity and commerce. I was limited as a photographer. As the founder of an online learning platform that I can support creatives globally, oh my gosh. And Connie, there is a lot of fear in terms of so making the switch to the business was not the place for courage. Where the courage I really need is the courage right now to grow the business to the size of my vision. There's a lot of fear about success and I'm dealing with the same mindset stuff of who am I to be the leader of this? And yeah, so it's sort of an ongoing mindset management. Each time I come up against the limit of where I feel like I'm worthy, I'm good enough, I'm capable. When I come up to that limit, each time I have to go back to my mindset, I go back to my coach, and I go back to the practice of experiencing myself as I'm making progress on being the kind of leader who can serve 500,000 people in the next 5 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this.
That's a great
time. We're now out of time, unfortunately, but thank you so much for your talk. They're really, really appreciated. I think everyone I've seen in the chat box, there's been loads of comments. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for the inspiration to bring WYRED to the world. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
To connect with Aura and to learn more about her work, visit wyred.live and look in the speaker bio. Coming up next, we have International Connection with the co-founder of Y International, Ying Pan. We'll now take a 10-minute break. The tech team will close the room and admit speakers and attendees for the next session. If you didn't register for the next session, but you'd like to watch more, visit our YouTube channel, Y International. Thank you.